Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good, thanks. You
Girl.
too. What's that? How's Montreal?
Yeah,
Yeah. Sunny. It's finally sunny. Yes.
it's beautiful here too. It was 82 when I was out this
Oh,
morning.
wonderful. Well, we're not that far from each other. It feels really far because it is two different countries. That's true. But it's really just, I think we're maybe a 5 hour drive from each other.
Yeah, it's very close. Well, although we're two different countries, but I understand that you're going to become our 51st state. Did I hear something about that?
I think the verdict is out on that. I heard something about that too. Yeah. Not sure that's gonna happen, but maybe there are those who want that. Anyways, we're really close to each other, so we have about the same weather. And finally, it's like beautiful and sunny, and it feels like spring is sprung. And uh, I don't know, as we get older, I don't know if you feel this too, but the winters feel longer
Mm.
as we get older. They just feel, or that's my experience of it. So when the sun finally rolls out and there are people outside walking and on bikes, it feels really nice.
Were you an Expos fan when they had baseball in Montreal?
Oh, I've never been a baseball fan.
No, no.
Regardless,
Hockey though,
my
right?
my partner is well, okay, I don't, this is an embarrassing conversation. I don't know one sport from the other. I know nothing about sports. Um, but my partner is an Expos fan. My son is close with the Reardon family, which I think means something in baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jeff
so
Reardon. Yeah,
yeah, of course. So I've met him a few times. And he had
and
a son named Shane, and our son was named in part after him. Yeah. Um,
your son is named after Jeff Reardon's son.
who passed away. Yeah, in part. Yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're a baseball fan. I'm
Oh,
I'm
I'm
seeing
I'm a
things
fanatic. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jeff Reardon, who's not the best known ball player, but I know him. Yeah, he pitched for the Mets.
Yeah, and so there was a time that he lived in Montreal.
Yeah.
So he knew uh Shane's dad's family. Like, so they were all very close.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know. Shane's got a baseball, he's got t-shirts. But Jeff also had a son named Shane, who passed away. So there's a few meanings to Shane's name, but that was a part of it actually, was Jeff and his wife's son. Um, Anyways, yeah, you're such a baseball fan. I just made that connection. But I don't know one sport from the other, and the playoffs, I think it's called in hockey. It's so embarrassing. That's going on right now, and
Okay.
the Canadians made it to the Stanley Cup. That's what they
Yeah.
were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been going on here. So the city is very excited. I don't think they did so well last night.
I don't follow hockey. My dad does, but
Oh, really? Okay. I
I've
saw
been to
some
one
frowny
game.
faces.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, we should get your slides up.
oh, yes, thank
And
you.
then
I'm
I'll
so
open up the
busy with
room.
the sports. Yes. Let's do that.
Oh gosh, my still.
I have to go see that baseball and send you a picture of it. It never even occurred to me you're such a baseball fan.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
somewhere in
I
his
can't
room.
wait to tell Robbie. He's gonna love that.
Oh, I met Jeff many years ago. He's a nice guy. Really, really. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I remember him being a really warm, well, I met him in a family kind of setting. So he was a very lovely, warm kind of guy.
He's a really hard thrower, quite a fastball.
Yeah, I remember there being lots of talk about maybe Shane was going to play and, all this sort of stuff. But my son's more into mathematics and physics than he is
Smart kid.
sports.
All right, do
And
you want to put
that's
that full
okay.
screen and then I'll open up the room?
Sure, sure. Good. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me just make sure. Perfect.
All right. It's 4 o'clock Eastern. Let me open up the doors
Great.
and then looking forward to it. Here we go.
Great.
Hey folks. I see folks are starting to come on in. Welcome, welcome. We'll get started in just a minute. Maybe we'll give a minute to let people filter in. Stephanie, what do you think?
It sounds good to me.
Right. See folks coming in. I hope it's as beautiful where you are as it is here in Eastern New Jersey and Montreal as well, apparently, right, Stephanie?
It's beautiful outside. It's sunny. We still have sunlight out, and birds are chirping. It's a nice time of year.
Beautiful. It was in the low 80s today as I was driving across the state.
So we're Canadian, so we see it differently. I think it was 16 degrees here.
Right, 82 is like inferno for
But I
from
mean, we
from a
calculate it
metric point of view.
differently. Yeah, 82 to me sounds like beach weather. That's just something you put your bathing suit on for.
All right. Well, folks, thanks for showing up. Stephanie, how about we get started? I'm pleased to welcome everybody and to share some time talking about this certificate program that Stephanie Middleman is going to be teaching for the third time. So if you're thinking about joining us, we'd love to have you join us for the this next certificate program. And this session is going to serve to give an overview of what we're going to be covering. So the program is called the Certificate Program in Sexuality Education and Disability, Understanding Neurodiversity, Intellectual Disabilities, and Sexual Health. And it's going to take place throughout the month of May on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening, except for one day that we're not going to have it on the 22nd, but I guess we'll get into the nitty gritty on that later, right?
Exactly.
All right. And welcome to our other panelists. Thank you for joining us. I see Izzy is with us and Brianna, who are also teaching certificate programs. So later on in the program, we'll hear a little bit from you as well. And thank you to everybody in the audience who joined us to learn a little bit about the program. So we're gonna spend some time introducing ourselves and going over what the program is going to look like. Let's go to the next slide if we can. There's me,
You. The next
and
slide is you.
there's me in my bio. So I'm Bill Tavener. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the president of the Sex Ed Lecture Series. We started the Sex Ed Lecture Series back in March of 2020 when the pandemic was going on, and it started as a program for half-hour seminars on teaching various aspects of sexuality education, and then gradually changed into 1 hour programs that we now offer every Wednesday. And then on the last Wednesday of the month, we have a free networking session. So check out our website at sexedlectures.org. Now we also are doing in-person events. We have a leadership retreat happening in December, and we've had retreats for the last couple of years as well. And we also have now certificate programs. Stephanie's going to be teaching hers for the third time. So let's move on to the next slide and learn a little bit about Stephanie.
I'm just curious first, where is the retreat in December this year? Have you
It's
said
going to be
that?
it's in Greater Philadelphia. And so it's the city is God, Wallingford or something like that, but it's 10 miles from the Philadelphia airport. It's a beautiful Quaker retreat center that I've gone to many retreats there in the past. Very, very nice place. And this is not a big 700, 800 person conference. This is a small gathering, maximum of 50 people. Brianna Lewis, who is with us, is one of the co-chairs of the event. Brianna, before we get started, do you want to say anything about the retreat?
Yes, please come. It's going to be a great time, such a great time to connect with your colleagues, to learn from one another, teach one another, have lots of fun, recharge, refresh, reconnect. I'm excited. The my co-chair, Kelly, she's very funny and awesome. So it's a great time. I've attended for 2 years now and I've enjoyed myself and made many great connections, that can help me in other areas of my life as well. So I would encourage you all to join and come be a part of such an amazing event.
Thanks, Brianna. Okay,
Wonderful.
let's take a look at I was gonna say let's take a look at Stephanie. We're looking at Stephanie, and then we're gonna look at Stephanie's bio. So Stephanie is one of the leading authorities on sex education in Canada, and I would say North America as well. Um, Stephanie is ASEX certified, CFLE certified by the National Coalition for Family Relations, and is regarded as an expert in autism and sexuality, neurodiversity and sexuality, and disabilities and sexuality. So I'm really, really thrilled to have Stephanie lead this course, which we've received, outstanding feedback the first 2 times that we've run the course.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Well, I'm thrilled to be back. And it's one of my favorite courses to deliver because this is something we really built together from the ground up. And as far as I'm aware, does not exist anywhere else in terms of really tailoring a program to those that work with or want to work with individuals with disabilities or neurodivergence. And how do we talk about relationships and sexuality? And there's such an interest in this area these days, but there isn't a whole bunch of information that exists out there. But now, what we were able to do with Bill and the Sex Ed lecture series was to take some of the expertise from the videos that have been accumulated over the last several years now. As was said, this was started during the COVID years, which can't believe it's almost 5 years now, or it has been 5 years since the start of COVID. Hard to believe. And then build out using several, experts to contribute knowledge in this area. So just to round out who I am, I have been a sexuality educator in one capacity or another for about 25 years now. The years are rolling on. I have been part-time faculty at the University of Concordia in Montreal for this was my 20th year this year, and I teach courses in sexuality as well as diversity, and I bring in topics around neurodiversity into all of my classes. I've worked as an EDI, at specialist equity, diversity, inclusion in a number of different areas, and I also have a private practice working with folks with autism and disabilities and neurodiversity in general, individuals, couples, and families around sexuality, relationships, boundaries, health, and so on. So let me tell you a little bit about how this course is structured and the kinds of things that we're going to do. The camera is just in the way. Give me a second. So this course explores facets of sexuality and disabilities, and it's separated in 4 different weeks. So as Bill said, we're going to meet twice a week, and we chose Tuesdays and Thursdays. That has been working up until now from 7 to 8:30 p.m. We'll meet online, and that's always Eastern time. We're just on the East Coast. And the course is going to go over the first week will be Introduction to Sexuality and Disabilities. The second week is going to look at tools for teaching sexuality. The third week is going to look at sexuality education in this population and how do we talk about enriching relationships and maybe some of the challenges or obstacles there. And then in week 4, we look at overcoming barriers to sexuality education. And what's not on the slide here too is another piece that I've incorporated here is really taking a deep dive into senses, the sensory system, and sexuality, and adding that in, and how do we work with different sensory systems or challenges in that area. So to give a bigger breakdown, we're going to go into more detail, but first we just want to let folks know that there is both an asynchronous component and a synchronous component here. So for people who are not familiar with this terminology, asynchronous means you do it on your own time. So you've got all the videos, you've got all the links, you watch them on your own time. You schedule what works for you. Some people like to watch this, while they're doing the dishes or Oops. Did I just pop out?
We lost your video, but we can hear
Yeah.
you.
Oh, good. I'm so sorry. I have no idea why the video popped out. I'm going to try to get that back, but let me continue talking in the meantime. So the asynchronous part is that you do that on your own time and you can watch it while you're doing other things, or you can dedicate certain hours to that. And then the synchronous part is when we come together, all in a Zoom room together and we discuss. So there will be lectures that I will give that'll be specific in that time period. Then there'll also be time to discuss the videos that you watched on your own, and then group time for us to discuss together as a group as well, and maybe other activities. So sorry, folks, I hope we can get that camera working back, but let me just continue as if that didn't go out. So, okay, let's see, let's start my video. Oh, great, thank you. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate the tech support. So here we go, folks. This is an overview of what we're going to do in week one, and there's much more information on the Sex Ed Lecture Series website that will go into all the details here, but a very, very quick overview. There will be 3 lectures per week, and you can divide those, you can do 1 per day or 2 for the Tuesday, 3 for the Thursday, whatever works for you, as long as you will have watched all of them in that week. And here gives you an overview of the kinds of content that we're going to be looking at, and also the breadth of experts that we're going to include. What was really important here is that it wasn't only my voice that was going to be in this course. We really wanted to hear from a number of different people, expertise, perspectives, backgrounds, positionality. So there are a number of different speakers. I happen to be the first speaker here. Ironically, this was the first time I had ever given a webinar. Was this during COVID, and I couldn't quite figure out the tech. Clearly, I'm still dealing with tech issues to this day. But beyond me, we've got other great speakers talking about what is appropriate, talking about developmental disabilities, and into week 2, the speakers we include for teaching, for the teaching tools, are going to examine issues around accessible sex education. I'm not sure if people are familiar with Elevatus, which is Catherine McLaughlin. So we've got a video of hers as well that's in there. And then we also examined the Circles program, which is really well known in the field of disabilities. If you're not familiar with that, it really is a cornerstone, from my perspective, tool for working in this population. And then in week 3, we also bring in some discussion around pleasure as well as pain, right? Which I think is really, really interesting and important as a conversation here. And we also move on to talk about parents, the parental perspective, what's the parental role, and how do we support parents to support their children. And then in the last week, we're going to talk more about barriers to sex education, making some of this education accessible to people, and what are some of the steps we can do with that. And then we make a return to pleasure. So just to be clear with folks, these are going to be videos that you're going to watch on your own time. That's the asynchronous part. And then we're going to come together in the evenings twice a week for an hour and a half at that 7 p.m. slot. And we're going to talk about the videos. We're going to do additional information and lectures, and then we'll have time for discussion and maybe small groups as well. So the course really has 2 different components to it. So at this point, I'm going to turn it back to Bill to talk a little bit about some of the other certificate programs coming up, and then we can leave some time at the end if folks have questions on this particular certificate program, on any of the others. You can feel free to put some questions if you have into the chat box, or any other way that you want to get the questions to us. Bill, maybe that's a tech question that you could answer, how people answer their questions, but certainly we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So Bill, this is for you.
Yeah, and before we continue on, do you mind speaking a little bit, Stephanie, about what the live sessions are like, what you talk about during, each Tuesday and evening when you're meeting for 90 minutes?
Sure. Yeah, I think I did, but I probably did that a little too quickly. So let me slow it down a little bit. So when we get together as a group for the hour and a half twice a week, there will be a dedicated lecture for that night. And everybody who's registered in the program will get copies of all the lectures, all the handouts, as well as the videos and so on. The platform that we use is called Moodle, which is what most of the universities use and so on, which is it's a pretty easy to navigate platform that will give you all the information for the week. And so there will be a lecture that we will do. There will be time for discussion and maybe activities within that period, and then we'll also discuss the videos that people are watching. And also just to speak on that as well, um, the videos also have short um, evaluations and sort of quizzes that follow them just to make sure that you got the main gist of the idea. And then this then works towards the certification, finishing this program. And then there's also, I believe, credits towards ASECT, but I think that Bill can speak on that part.
Sure, for sure. And it's homework too, right? I mean, th this is a full-fledged course. People have
Yeah.
to do assignments and
There's a final assignment. Did I forget the final assignment?
I
Yeah.
don't remember if you said it. It could be my attention span
I
is
know I
bad.
didn't say there's a final assignment, but folks, don't get scared off. It's a paper that's a reflection paper about your own experience and the kinds of things that you've learned and you're taking away from the course. So it is an intensive course because it's 1 month long and it's twice a week. So you'll be doing work on your own. And then we'll be coming together. But because it's an intensive course, we really get to dive into the issues. And for a lot of people, the feedback has been that it's been a really great way to learn about this subject, in a succinct and sort of quick way. There's an intensity there, and folks often, you know, make connections within the group as well. And these are all people that are either working in the field of disability or sexuality or want to be. So these are really great connections too. And then at the final piece is that reflection assignment, and then you get to leave with a beautiful certificate that you've completed all the requirements of the course.
And that was not stellar salesmanship on my part. Hey, folks, there's homework. You want to sign up today?
Yeah. No, I know, but we should be clear about what the expectations are. Everyone's going to get a syllabus from the start. If, most people will be familiar with that lingo. If not, it really just means a course outline. And here are the things that are going to be taught, and here are the expectations on both sides. Um, so that you can walk away with the most amount of information in the shortest amount of time. This is, what we call a micro credential. So it's learning pretty intensely, pretty quickly on a very specific subject.
Thank you, Stephanie. And the course is 24 credits in total. So there's 12 hours asynchronous, 12 hours synchronous.
Yeah.
And so it's a robust program. You're going
Mhm.
to emerge from this with a very comprehensive understanding of the many facets of understanding sexuality, disability, neurodiversity, autism, intellectual, developmental disabilities,
Mhm.
and other types of disabilities as well. It's a very, very
Mhm.
comprehensive course.
Thank you.
Okay, well now we have three other programs. I can speak a little. I don't think we have Tanya with us, do we? Just looking through the audience. Nope, Tanya couldn't join us. So Dr. Tanya Bass is teaching the social justice and sexuality education program, and that is going to explore these are all structured in the same way. So it's 12 hours asynchronous and 12 hours synchronous. And so Dr. Bass selected an approach that explores many, many different facets of understanding different identities and different aspects of social justice, inclusivity, diversity. Dr. Bass is the author of Sex Education. Gosh, what's the title of that book?
Get
Representation
up.
in Sex Education. I should know, right? I'm the editor. Representation in
Yeah.
Sex
But
Education.
you edit a lot, so don't feel so badly. I'll look it up.
Cultivating diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And so I know that she relies on that text as well as a textbook that is a free sourced textbook. So there's a lot of mindful thinking into making the materials as accessible as possible. And then just not just one lens. Dr. Bass is exploring disability as well, but she's also exploring race and culture and geographic inequities, all kinds of aspects of inclusion and diversity, which we need to be talking about because we're being told that we shouldn't be talking about it these days, and we should. So, looking forward to that course in July as well. Now, Oh, so this is a little, look at that. We a little too much copying and pasting. Sorry about that, Izzy. So Izzy's course is on consent and sex education, addressing core concepts, frameworks, and teaching tools for instructors. So sorry about the copying and pasting there. We'll get the title right the next time. But let me turn it over to the instructor, Izzy Abraham Ravison, to talk about that program.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Izzy. I like they pronouns best. I'm the executive director of Yes, or Your Empowered Sexuality, which is a nonprofit based in Philly, that provides anti-oppressive, consent-based, and pleasure-centered sex ed for people of all ages. So we work with kids as young as in preschool. I used to be a preschool teacher for 3 years, so the intersections of consent education and young kids is a really exciting thing for me. But we also work with elementary, middle, high school students, college students, parents. We do a lot of parent and caregiver workshops, a lot of teacher professional development trainings, and we work with healthcare providers and just the general public. So, in this course, we'll be talking a lot about what is consent, what's a good framework or a good model for talking about consent. How do we sort of move away from some of the more transactional approaches or approaches to consent education that are just about avoiding getting in trouble, like maybe a lot of the sort of consent education that a lot of colleges do for liability reasons, and moving towards a really whole person, embodied, care-based, pleasure-centered approach to consent education. Um, and we'll talk about all these different populations. So yeah, there's so much in there. I could talk about consent and bodily autonomy and teaching about those things forever. I'll put our website, Yes's website, in the chat if you want to learn more about my work. I also do have a master's from Widener in sex ed. Um, so yeah, that's my like very quick spiel, but could certainly talk more if anybody wants to.
I
And
want to come
what
to
is,
your course. Can I
I'm sorry,
come?
Steph, go ahead.
I wanna be there. Nice to meet you, Izzy.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks.
And Izzy has twice been a speaker for us to rave reviews and tackles this. It may have been no accident that I put in social justice because I know that you're coming from a frame of social justice when you're talking about consent. Do you want to say anything more about that? Not to put you on the spot, but your
Sure.
approach to teaching and understanding about consent.
Yeah, so actually, so our big event of the year, I guess, is called Consent Fest, which is coming up in a couple weeks. So I've been thinking about this a lot. So a big goal of Consent Fest and of this course and the way I think about consent is to move away from or beyond the people's first instinct is often sexual consent, and people's first instinct is often like interpersonal consent, like ask before you touch. And those are really important things. But consent and bodily autonomy are concepts that we should be building our whole culture around, right? Not just individual interactions, but our institutions, our policies and practices, and our values should all be informed, in my opinion, by body autonomy. So we're going to think about like building a consent culture together instead of just making sure this interaction between me and you is consensual, and especially not just sexual consent, right? Because that's the pushback that we often get when people say, you're teaching consent to 3-year-olds? Like, that's crazy. And I'm like, it's crazy not to, right? Because that's how we take care of each other. That's how we respect ourselves. That's how we know that we're in charge of our bodies and other people are in charge of their bodies. It has nothing to do with sex any more than it has to do with anything else, right? It's a foundational principle for all of our interactions, and it's very intersectional with um, systems that disempower us. And so, yeah, that's
And the dates of your course are is it September 2nd through the 25th? Do I have
yes,
that right?
yes.
Okay, so same structure, Tuesday and Thursday evenings. You want to comment at all about your vision for attendance, for homework, for anything like that?
Sure. And I also see a couple questions in the chat. So, yes, I will drop my contact info when I'm done talking. Agreed with everything everyone's saying. Consent is a life skill. We need to practice it. Medical and mental health complexes should be consent informed. Agreed. Um, yes, okay, loving everything that's in the chat. So, yeah, it's a similar structure to what Stephanie described. It'll mostly be watching lectures from the lecture series, but also some supplemental short readings and other short videos for some other perspectives and to round it out. And there'll be one final assignment that can either be a reflective writing if people are interested in that, or can be a lesson plan because I know that we are talking about education, and I want to give people the opportunity, if they're interested and excited, to put some of this learning into practice for, how might I want to use this in a consent education space. So those will be the two options.
I love that.
Thanks, Izzy. Appreciate
That's
that.
great.
And last but not least, and Stephanie, do
Sorry, I
you
just
have...
saw another question in the chat.
Oh, go ahead, Izzy. Go ahead.
Yeah, someone in the chat said, can we do both and get feedback for them? Absolutely. If you want to do both, I will read them.
And before we move on to Bill, I did find the name of Tanya's book just so that we get that right. So the full title, you were very close, but the full title is Representation in Sex Education, Cultivating Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. That's the full title.
Thank you so much. And as I recall, the book has addresses 11 distinct elements of identities. So there's a chapter with all of them have the results of a national study on what sexuality educators said needs to be prioritized in terms of doing better with sex education and representation. So there's a chapter on disability, and there's a chapter on geographic location and culture and race and sexual orientation and gender identity and four or five others that I can't remember off the top of my head. So fantastic. And let's pass it on to our October speaker. Hopefully I got the title of your course correct, Brianna. And the instructor is going to be Brianna Lewis. We have an October, which is Let's Talk Month. So we're going to talk in October about parents, families, and sexuality education. Let me turn it over to Brianna.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna Lewis. I have a background in public health. I have worked with parent, caregiver, and sexuality education programs for about 7 years now through Planned Parenthood of Southeast and North Florida. I am also ASEC certified. And I'm so excited about this course. I love everything about parent and caregiver and family education. As you all know, everything that we are facing in legislation and politics, parents really are now becoming the primary sex educator of their young person's life. And so I'm super excited. I invite you all to sign up for this course. As the previous two instructors stated, the course runs very similarly in terms of modality and formatting. Um, I hope that you all will consider registering for this course. Through this course, you're going to learn how to help guide parents, caregivers, and really anyone that works with young people, how to really create a supportive, safe space, a sex positive space to be able to have important conversations about topics that impact young people, such as sexuality, consent, body safety, healthy relationships, even disability, and just how to work with parents and caregivers and trusted adults who work with different types of populations as well. So again, I hope you all will join me. I'll talk about some of my course components. I also am a professor in healthcare administration at one of the colleges here. So I definitely have my professional lens when creating this course. So I do have some discussions. I know some people definitely don't appreciate discussions, but I love them because it really offers the opportunity for you all to reflect. And so that's how I chose to utilize the asynchronous components through the recorded videos. So you'll have some discussions, and then I wanted to create an opportunity for you to develop your own family sexuality education plan. And so that will be like one of the big deliverables that I'll be looking forward to just working with you all on completing toward the completion of the course. And then lastly, there's a reflection assignment, and that's really just putting it all together to kind of go through and apply principles that you've learned. We'll have so many different activities that will facilitate during our times together in our live sessions. I have small groups, think, pair, share activities, role play activities. So I'm excited. I love doing all the things parent education. So like I said, please sign up and join us. This is a really important niche right now. Like I said, with everything that's happening in our political environment. And so I really hope that you all are truly interested in becoming and helping support parents and caregivers in providing sex education to their young people.
Thank you, Brianna. Looking forward to this course. And I'm also going homework for your course. Did you speak at that at all? I don't know why I'm fixed on homework these days.
No, 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 that's fine. So the homework would be the discussions. And it's really just, I just want to read your thoughts. There is no right or wrong answer. I mean, I hope that you complete it, but there is no right or wrong. I just want your thoughts. I have different prompts that I've created that go along with the video recordings. And so I just really want to hear your thoughts, and then we'll use some time during our class together to continue to discuss those as well as build on other components and competencies of the course.
Thanks so much. And I'm also going to drop my email address. And if any of the instructors want to give your email addresses, just make sure that you do when you do so that you're sending it to everyone, not to the other hosts and panelists, so that everybody can see. But my email address, if anybody wants to ask any questions about any of these courses, or if you want to suggest a brand new course, a topic that we haven't addressed yet, or if you want to be an instructor, looking forward to hearing from folks about all kinds of ideas. I know that we're looking on putting together a course on LGBTQ folks and sexuality education and exploring sexual orientation. We're also looking at putting together one on gender diversity and sexuality education, gender identity, gender diversity and sexuality education. And maybe there's some other courses that we could put together as well. So, what else? Oh, let me give you a couple of other links. So this is the link for if you decide to sign up for one of these certificate programs, if you want to learn more. And Stephanie, do you mind progressing to the next slide?
Yeah, I think the next slide has got one of these
QR code for those who
thank you. I
know how
couldn't
to use
remember the
QR
term,
codes.
QR code. Yes.
We learned to use that during COVID, right, with menus and such. So you should be able to get to the website as well. I also want to, on the link that I dropped into the chat, on the bottom of the page, I think it's on the bottom of the page, there's also an application link for scholarships. So if the fees are too high, we want to make all of these programs as accessible as possible. We can't give everybody a scholarship, but we try to be as generous as we can to make these courses more affordable for folks, because the work that we're all doing, is so important. At the top of the meeting, we also talked briefly about the Sex Ed Leadership Retreat, which will be an in-person event in December at a retreat center in Philadelphia. So there's a link for that as well. And I think that's all I have. Anything else from our speakers before we turn it over for Q&A?
No, we're at the final slide here just to say thank you to everyone. And I think that's all I had. Unless anybody's got questions about the course coming up, I'm happy to answer that.
Okay. Now I'm seeing in the chat that in Iowa, they have never talked about consent. Like nobody has talked about consent in Iowa. Being playful there. But I think a lot of states would also say we're not talking enough about consent either. So
I
yeah.
also want to jump into because I know the political landscape is quite different, but I'm actually in Canada, and the last few times we've run my particular course, we've had a few people from different parts around the world also jump in too. So I know a bulk of the people are going to be from the United States, and there's sort of a shared experience, there. But there's also people from around the world, and certainly from Canada coming into. So sometimes we talk about provinces and other other things that are relevant to us, but what gets really neat too to hear is different experiences based on where you live, even throughout the country. I know when we talk about some of the issues, hearing about people's experiences from one end of the country to the other can be vastly different, or even two states next to one another or two provinces. So that's really neat to hear as well. But I don't want to give the impression that this is only open for folks in one part of the world, because we've had people. We had a student from the Dominican Republic last time in our class, Bill. I don't know if you remember that, and um, it was great because we ended up taking some of the resources that had been developed and she translated them into the Spanish language to be
Oh,
able to use
wow.
with her students. Yeah, I don't know if I told you about that, but and so then she brought them back to her classes in the Dominican Republic. So it was a great
You
experience.
also had a student from Turkey, if I remember correctly.
Oh, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone's welcome. And that's one of the neat things about running these courses, both, asynchronously and synchronously online, is that we can invite people in from around the world, which is really neat. Actually, one of the students was from Montreal in my own city. And then we got together for a cup of coffee afterwards.
Oh, how nice. Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah, because we were right in the same city together. Actually, like 10 minutes from each other, which is really neat.
all right, folks, if anybody wants to ask a question, come on audio, or if you can pop it into the chat. If you want to ask a question verbally, just raise your virtual hand so we can find you.
And Bill, I just want to make sure you're seeing the questions in the Q&A because there are three already.
Okay. Yeah, I am just not, you'd think I would be better at this
Happy to
after.
help with Zoom stuff if anybody needs. I'm on it all the time.
Yeah, can you come to all of my classes, please? Because that's not my expertise at all. Yeah.
Okay, so scrolling, Izzy, could I ask you to help monitor these?
Yes. Could
Thank you
I
so.
read you some Q&A questions and you can answer them?
Okay.
Okay, the first one is I'm just learning about the certificate program, but my May is already booked. I really want to do it. Will it be offered again this year so I could plan intentional time for the program into a month further ahead of time?
I don't think this year, but for the disabilities and the neurodiversity one, we'll probably offer that next year as well, as long as Stephanie isn't tired of me. What do you think, Stephanie? Want to offer it again next year?
I I agree. Oh, I'd be more than happy to offer it again next year. And there's no chance of me getting sick of you, Bill. We've known each other a long time now. That hasn't happened yet, so I think we're okay. It's 20 some years we've known each other. So I think we're in the safe zone with that. But I agree. At this point, we've been offering it once a year, so I don't. And we sort of found the timing to be in the spring to work really well for this course. So we're not likely to. I don't think, unless there's a huge demand, I'm open to it, but chances are we'll offer it again next May.
Yeah, and the enrollment tends to be around somewhere between 10 and 30 overall. I think Tanya's course had 30, 33, something like that last year. But typical for these courses, these are smaller, more intimate groups where people get to know each other
Mhm.
and have lively discussions with each other. All right, Izzy, thank you. What else do we have?
We also have our scholarships still available. How much do they cover? If they're not available anymore, are there any other ways of getting financial assistance for the programs?
Yes, they're still available, and we offer $500 scholarships.
Okay, and we also have, I am in New Zealand, and because of our time difference, I missed the start of this presentation. Will you email out the Zoom signed Dr. Tracy Cleland?
Yes. Hi, Tracy.
That's the Q&A.
Thank you
Other stuff
so
in the
much.
chat probably, but
I don't see anybody with raised hands. Um,
in the chat I see where is the link found for the December leadership meeting? Someone else put it in though, I think. So
okay, great. All right, yeah, I think I'll drop it in one more time because I'm really excited about this. This is in the past, the retreats have been for the speakers, sex ed lecture series speakers, and so they've been a much more narrow and focused audience. But we decided to make it for sexuality leaders in general. So if you're doing leadership work in sexuality education, however you define that, we're not going. We do ask people when they register to submit a CV or a resume, and that's not so much so that we can scrutinize, are you really a leader? We're not looking at that so much. We're looking at that, we're making sure that we get out opponents of sex education. We want to know that people who are registering are really doing legitimate work in the field. So that's what that's all about. Well, I want to thank so much my instructors, Stephanie Middleman, Brianna Lewis, Izzy Abraham Ravison, Dr. Tanya Bass. I'm thrilled to be working with you this year and hope to work with you again next year. And Do you really like sex? Is that the question in the Q&A? Okay.
Who is that
Um,
being asked to?
yeah, yeah. Dr. Badger, who are you asking? All right, let's take this question offline. Thanks again to everybody for attending and learning about the program and again to our instructors. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Bill. Hope to see you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Everybody, bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.